Hey everybody, I'm Keith Kendrick. In 2024, over 38,000 vulnerabilities were disclosed. Yes, 38K. But attackers don't need 38,000 vulnerabilities. They only need one. And so already this year, we've seen critical zero-day exploits in the wild, whether that was from supply chain compromises, maybe even lateral movement, and also widespread impact in general. And so the challenge really isn't about adversaries taking advantage of the 38,000 or thinking about detections. It's about knowing which vulnerabilities will actually be used against you. Now, most teams still rely, unfortunately, on outdated methods of prioritizing risk, one of those being CVSS scores. So CVSS stands for the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, and it tells you how severe a vulnerability could be, but not how likely it is to be exploited. And next you have EPSS, which stands for Exploit Prediction Scoring System. And so this gives you a probability score, but it doesn't really account for the real adversary behavior. And lastly, you have CVSS, the Known Exploited Vulnerabilities Catalog. And so this shows you what's already being used in the wild, but by the time it's listed, it might be too late. And that's no good for anybody, right? So now even using all three filters together typically only reduces less than 50% of your exposures. That's why we built ExPRT.AI. Let's dive into it. ExPRT.AI is CrowdStrike's AI-powered vulnerability scoring engine. So with just 10% of your remediation capacity, ExPRT.AI can help you to address about 60% of vulnerabilities that will actually be exploited. This is not based on theory. That's 3 times more effective than CVSS scores alone. Now, you may be pondering, yeah, the numbers sound great, but how is this done? And so the first piece of this puzzle to ExPRT.AI is all around exploit signals. And so if it's being used in the wild, ExPRT.AI understands that because CrowdStrike sees it through threat intel and our lightweight sensor, as well as global telemetry. Not only that, we also look at threat actor behavior. And so we've trained ExPRT.AI on years of tactics, techniques, and even campaigns. So it understands how adversaries operate and what they're likely to reuse in the future. Now, last is the most unique in my opinion, is vendor prevalence. And so if a vulnerability exists widely or is very popular, attackers get better ROI. They can build one exploit and use it across multiple organizations. And so ExPRT.AI recognizes that logic and raises the priority where it matters. All of this is powered by CrowdStrike's threat graph and the threat intelligence that we build in-house first party. Now that's what makes us different and makes us stand out. That's the secret sauce. Now let's take a look inside Falcon. Here, you can see a CVE rated medium by a third-party source, but ExPRT.AI flags it as critical. But why? Because it's being exploited and it's tied to a highly targeted product. And this isn't really a mystery in a box. You see the breakdown, each signal, its weight, and why it matters to you. Now let's talk results. Intermex, a company moving $24 billion annually, saw over 50 critical vulnerabilities on their essential business servers. With Falcon Exposure Management and ExPRT.AI together, they prioritize intelligently and reduce 98% of critical vulnerabilities in the DMZ. Now you understand how ExPRT.AI actually helps you to focus on the vulnerabilities that matter. If you want to go deeper, we've included a leave behind that shows how ExPRT.AI predicted the exploitation of a Linux kernel vulnerability months before the world was aware of what it was. That's the value of thinking like an adversary. And so I want to inspire you and encourage you to continue to explore Falcon Exposure Management, but most of all, be safe and cheers to stopping the breach.